Good morning all, so welcome back. Today I'm going to endeavour to try and do a bit of a walk and talk and explain my projects up to date and what I've been up to in regards to a project that's started about 5 years ago. So 5 years ago we hatched out Twinkle, and then a month later we hatched out Tank, and that's when we've decided to turn the property into self-sufficient boutique hatcheries, just more projects and fun, and showing people this is what the video channel's about, is to actually just show how we do things around here and how you could easily get away with doing what we do in the similar climates. You got to understand, it's, what is it, March, first week of March here, so we have 21 degrees at the moment, 7 degrees Fahrenheit. It's about 10 o'clock in the day. I'm just going through my morning rituals. I've just done school drop-offs. I've just dropped Storm off. I've got a few missions. The main mission is I'm doing the pond area. I've had the pond area for close to 20 odd years. I've not really necessarily worried about the water clarity. Nowadays I'm getting it to optimum clarity that I can achieve for the well-being and the caring of the white-cloud mountain minnows. We used to have goldfish, and now we've gone to white-cloud mountain minnows. They're prolifically breeding since we put them in there in August, but the main project of the pond is actually for the box turtles, which we only got a year ago, and I've been doing this project for about 5 years now. So I looked a little bit crazy talking to people and trying to explain that the everything I was doing in regards to the pond, fixing the waterfall and stuff, was in regards to two reptiles that are extremely rare in this country. Three-toed box turtles are the only terrapene species that we have in New Zealand. Red ears have been banned in the areas that we are. Snake necks are banned, Australian snake necks, but essentially we've only got one or two variety of, well, we've only got red ears in regards to American species. And the three-toed box turtles, everything in New Zealand's come in prior to 1972, so availability of terrestrial turtles and tortoises, we only can have Eastern Hermanns and Greek Spur thighs and three-toed box turtles. What I do find interesting about three-toes, and it's probably a little bit too mild here for them, as in it doesn't have the extremes of temperature where other parts of New Zealand does get, so they could be better off a little bit further south, because I do understand that Missouri gets snow, but we'll go looking for them, try and find them for you. Well, there's one right there. So this is Jesse James's little hideout. This is the great thing about these three-toed box turtles, is see how they're not closing right up and timid. Got good growth this year. They're coming up 2 years of age. We naturally keep, so eventually the project Jonah is to actually have 7 box turtles in the pond area. We've got 2 now. That's Jesse James, and I'll just see if we can find Bellstar. At this age we don't know what sex they are. Sort of hazard a guess by the size of their feet, but we're for a good 4 or 5 years. They're very good at hiding, that's for sure. Good 4 or 5 years of being able to have at least having some good idea, maybe a bit earlier, but as I say, oh, there she is, Bellstar. So I've noticed with the boxies, the Hermanns don't like to live with them, not the babies anyway. This is Bellstar, she's slightly smaller. They're both doing very well. They're interesting species in New Zealand. Most people don't even know what they are. We don't have any Asian varieties of box turtles. So anyway, so this is the pond area, and that's why you might notice there's perspex walls on the pond fence. That's to stop these little guys from being able to climb out, and I've still got to add more concrete and pebbles underneath the fence, between the fence and the actual pond capping stones that need to be filled in. They're going to be much bigger before they go into the pond area. Back to my daily little rituals. So normally what I do is wander over here. We will open so I have there's a courier just on the other side of the fence. We have a little door there that I unblock, that's for the adults to come out. Wander in here. So I've checked the water. So this is terrarium 1. Last night I changed the Arcadia luminised light system to mimic more the same as that outsiders. We keep the soil relatively moist but the atmosphere dry, so you can see it's still moderate. It should be on the drier side of things over there. I'm happy with that. Auckland is very humid, so it is still very difficult, even though we have, and it's first thing in the morning, we have a dehumidifier in here and aircon, which also takes out moisture, plus the concrete. I'll just check on the egg. So this egg took a wee bit longer to cloud up. It had a vein, there's a good shadow in there, so it does seem we're still, so Montana was 77 days. Miracle hadn't hatched out at 90 days, and with the Hermanns, see that's little Montana. So at night time I am putting her back into the pottle because I'm not happy about that crease there, but there's not much I can do about it. That's just happening naturally, and we keep her here anyway. So, and this is one of the lovely Eastern Hermanns that will be looking for a home this year. We have 6, and as you can see that there's no pyramiding, no deformation in the shells, which is important for us if we can produce the happiest and the best. So if the day heats up a little bit more, I might actually start putting those 6 out here. This is where Miracle is at the moment, and she's been really cool. She goes into her little house every night. So this is still what I do every day. You'll see. So yesterday they all went in there by themselves. They're pretty good, these little juveniles. So this is funny as while I'm picking some more flowers out here for them. Twinkle and Tank are really early risers. Generally one of them will go straight to the waterfall. The fountain, which is a really cool thing. It's UV filtered, biologically filtered, so it's safe. It is filled up with rain, and I have a tap there which has a Bluetooth. This season I haven't had to actually do much with it. Alright, so Twinkle's come out the back door, and that's Tank there. We'll get out of their way. This isn't very usual, is it, Tank? One thing I do notice about both species, the Eastern Hermans and the Gracia Greeks, not that I have young males, but Zeus gets up pretty early, Punga gets up early, and Twinkle and Tank get up early. Well, early comparison to the rest. So you can see Twinkle climbing up onto the grass. So he's trying to get into this early sun. So that's to warm up, thermoregulate. I do believe what Tank will do now will probably wander over to the waterfall. Fountain. So they drink from it. Have a good look. Taking your sunlight, aren't I? Anyway, so I'll get out of here and just let them do their thing. And we'll get into today's little project. So yesterday I managed to disconnect the hoses, turn off the pump, disconnect the hoses and clean it all up. I've got some stones here today to put on the pipes. So the pipe is now, I don't know if you can see over there, but it's sticking up. There's a big rock there, it's too big. I want to put that back into the garden. And the pump needs to sit on a rock, and there's some over there. Some of the pipe over there needs to be held down with the rock. It's quite a rigid pipe. I actually prefer it. It's easier to deal with. At some stage I'm going to put the Liliopsis into the pond. So once I get the pump in the next few days, the new pump, I'm also adding an aerator. So how this works, I've got a tap coming as well, so that'll be a week or two away, but this will go into the hose line and I'll bleed off a little bit of water. This, I'll be changing this pipe to a black pipe, so you don't see it. And then there's just a little valve there to adjust the airflow in. I noticed when the pump was broken, well, it's not broken, well, it's broken. The pump impeller cover, I stood on accidentally slipped and stood on the pre-filter and have broken one of the tabs that holds the impeller cover on, but I've managed to, fix that up. Number 8 wire, literally just cable ties, but I was watching the mountain mowers really enjoyed the current. The other thing, I'd like to bring in more oxygen because they're a species that does very well with extra oxygen. I'm upping the water flow by another 50%, so I've got 4,500 now, and I'm going up to 6,500. So I'll have enough water to bleed off, or pressure to bleed off. There'll be slightly more filtration, so through the filter there'll be another 800 odd litres per hour, and then through this waterfall there'll be another 800 litres per hour at least, if not 1,000. So I'll bleed some off to here, which will be fully submerged just above the micro sword or the Liliopsis height. One of the big reasons is I'm putting the Liliopsis in is it's going to help with more spawning, more breaking down nitrites and nitrates. Nitrites are more taken out by filling the pond up and essentially doing water changes through rain and things like that. So Many reasons why I'm putting the micro sort. I do like the look of it, plus it will also help the box turtles climb in and out. They're great climbers, they're not great swimmers, and my pond technically is too deep. I was going to shallow it up, but I've decided to just make it a lot easier for them to get out, because I also really appreciate and cherish the mountain minnows, which is a project Storm's been doing, and she's recently managed to sell some and pay for food for them and get a little bit of pocket money. So that's an ongoing project we're very happy with. So here I am climbing into the pond. I've turned off the pump. I don't really like to get into the pond when the pump's running. It is 240 volt submergible pump. You don't know what could have gone wrong in the wiring or anything like that, so it is best to turn it off. Best practice. When I installed the pipes into the pond, they were just random pipes that I had floating around, and I just had to get them in. So here I am lifting them out, disconnecting them, putting them over the fence. So I'm set up here. I've measured the length and the width, which is, I always over measure things. You can always cut them shorter. You can make them longer, but it costs you a little bit of money with connectors and things, and it doesn't look as pretty. And later down the track, on the main length, I have to put the aerator in because I haven't got the tap yet. But I'm set up with a heat gun. You've got to be careful with the heat guns that you don't get too close to the pipes and start melting them or overheating them, and then you can't, you'll go to put the male fitting in, and you might find that the pipes will deform. Another good thing about the heat gun is that you can these very rigid, thick pipes that I'm using, you can actually shape them. Make sure you don't burn your fingers. You might notice in the background there's actually, you might not see Punga and Daisy, but Punga's being quite admirous to our lovely Daisy, which is one of the things that happens towards the end of the season. So we're the last 20 days of summer. The weather's getting quite nice. I like to start doing things. As you might note, that Zeus is quite happy to have a look around. I know he's there, fully well aware of him, and I made sure that I haven't hit him with any of the pipes or anything like that. He's gone and come and checked me out, and then wandered off and had a nice little meal, and you'll see in the background them running around, and I think Punga will wander through the picture just towards the end there. But now, so it's 4.5 metres by 2.7 metres. Don't ask me what that is in feet. Well, feet divided by 30, divided by 3. You can do it, divided by 3. It's a lot. So that's the two long pipes, one for one waterfall, one to the other. So now it's the test and see if they all fit in properly. Much prefer to do it outside of the pond and then install it, and then if I need to cut to size, which in this case I do a little bit. I always sort of have to take 10 or half a foot off, or a third of a foot off, or 10 centimetres or 15 centimetres off, depending. So, and that's exactly what I had to do here. So I'm pretty happy with it. Waiting for the pump to turn up in the next couple of days, and then we will have it all installed back together, and I'll start adding in the micro sword, the New Zealand micro sword and the Brazilian, and that will be a good stage, a lot closer to finishing off. Well, not finishing off, I'm miles of finishing off. What I will show you is me cleaning all the rocks and putting all the rocks and pebble. So the pebbles are going into the top of the waterfalls just to cover it up a little bit more. And this is a hide that I've made for the box turtles, because I have noticed they actually prefer staying in. So this is all made out of concrete. It's quite a good colony for earwigs. But made in 2004. It was actually, I was working for a company which is unfortunately up for sale again. And that's what all these rocks and water, that rock there. So you can see there's actually a door, arched doorway there that will come out when the boxies are big enough. That's an artificial rock there. This is actually the stuff that it's made out of. And that's the waterfall, one of two waterfalls I use. So I'm going to be putting those rocks in the pond to cover the pipe, and you may or may not be able to see. Yeah, you can see it. That's some of the Liliopsis already in the water, so you can see how effective it is. That's a tiny little strip, or the micro sword. So yeah, quite a neat project to be doing. Those guys, the mountain minnows, are all waiting for their food. So I better get into it. So I'm pretty happy with that now. So what I've done here is just add some more pebbles. I've got some baked clay balls in these top wells. So holds a little bit of water on the top of these waterfalls. And that's just to add to the biological media. The water's a bit stirred up. Mountain minnows won't be that happy, but I'll pull out those leaves and probably top the pond up. It rained last night, so I've got a tank that I can top the water up with. I'm happy with that. It sort of prevents the birds from being able to drink in that area there, which let's see if it works. Gave the waterfalls a bit of a scrub, and as you can see there's a rock place. So that's all I'm really doing, because I'm going to carpet most of the bottom of the pond. I still have to be able to walk around with it. So there we go, I'm pretty happy with that, step by step. The good thing about reptiles, they take a long time to grow. So realistically, I'm still a couple of years away from needing to have this enclosure all perfect. But as you can see down here, still have to fill in all this, and you'll be watching videos of me doing that. The pump should hopefully turn up in the next day or two. I have a canister UV filter here. So all these sort of things, there'll be a video clip coming up with the, I've got a UV for a bulb coming for the all-in-one pump. I recommend mulberry. If you get some mulberry, it's good to feed them for added calcium. Just a quick finish off with a little bit of a walkthrough. So the hibiscus I'll be all picking today. We always have a clump of the Anubium I think it is, or Chinese lantern is the easiest, or lantern plant. We feed them a selection of hibiscus leaves, mulberry leaves, hibiscus flowers. They can graze all day. I think we have, oh there she is. So this is the Jenny, the start. Jilly's the first out today, aren't you, my little Jilly? Anyway, leave her be. And we'll just quickly see who's up. You can see down there, so behind, I don't know if you can see that, I'll take you through. Miracle's not up. I'll get into more about Miracle and Montana in the next coming episodes. There we go. That's Twinkle and Tank, our first. That's Twinkle, he's our very first boy that I spoke about before. That's Tank. And then behind there we actually have Diamond Yana. So she's actually 4, but Twinkle and Tank have grown quite a bit quicker. We do sort of have a couple of smaller. Poco was a half-size egg. I think all the younger ones are all still there. So Poco's there in the corner on the left-hand side, and as you can see over there, the 1-year-old. So Poco's 2, the same age as Luna in the middle. She's the smallest of her 3 sisters, and then you have Antonia on the right. So Antonia is slightly bigger than Poco. Poco was a little half egg. Oh, that's us.